Hey, editing Monique sliding in here. So I just wanted to make sure that I drove this home in terms of confidence. When I think about being confident or having confidence in an idea, you know that whatever it is valuable. And so if you are a confident person, then you know that you're an asset, that you bring value into the spaces that you enter. And that's how I feel about myself, thank God. And also, I would say as well that when you are confident in something, you have all the knowledge that you need in order to make that particular decision. So even if you don't know everything about that particular topic, you still are having some sort of trust or some sort of feeling that it's going to end up being okay, right? So there are times where we may confidently do something and you feel as though you are informed enough to be able to go through with something, but it may not turn out the way that you expected, but it was enough information for you to decide to go for it in the first place. If we think about applying for things, or we try a brand new recipe, or we try to go on a certain excursion, if you are the type of person that seeks thrills or you love trying new things, you may not know what the outcome is going to be, but you still feel confident that you may have fun or that you're going to find a way to be able to still enjoy it. So that is what confidence is to me, is being able to have enough knowledge or enough information to make a decision and just go for it. So even if you are still scared or you feel like it's a really big risk and you still want to take it, I think that is embracing confidence and having confidence. So I hope you enjoy the rest of the episode.
You're listening to the Warrior Rulebook podcast with me, Monique Harmon. I love helping people express themselves, protect their peace, and be confident in being them. You may also know me as Pretty Nikki, who started her online journey as a modest fashion blogger. Now I'm an entrepreneur. You'll see through my experiences and the experiences of others that change is possible, improvement is tasty, and meaningful connection is transformational. Come on, share your story with me. The stories and information presented in my podcast is not intended to take the place of medical advice from a healthcare professional. So any exercise, diet, health-related, mental health matters vary from person to person. So nothing in the podcast will be construed or used as a substitute for medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Any action taken based on the contents of this podcast or the resources is solely at your own discretion, risk, and liability. So this podcast is simply here to be encouraging, but you should definitely seek a healthcare professional for additional help. Now let's get on to the show. Welcome to another episode of the Warrior Rulebook podcast. So when we think about having nerves, whether we are about to do a presentation or we're about to go to our boss and ask for a raise, or maybe we are just trying something for the first time, it can be so nerve-wracking. Like your palms might get sweaty. So let me know if your palms still get sweaty. I don't really think mine does, but I will say like my heart starts to beat very unnaturally. It feels like, and it feels like it's just going to jump out of its chest. And it's just really hard sometimes to put yourself out there because you don't know how other people are going to take it. And that is where we are trying to figure out how we can be confident. What does confidence really mean? So for me, I would say that confidence is being true to yourself, and it's about taking those risks even though you're scared. So it's about being brave. It's about trying to defy the odds and still going for something even though you don't know what the outcome is going to be. So It can also be paired with faith as well. And so that's something that's important to me. So I'll give you a real life example. A couple of days ago, I decided to sing a song that was really on my heart at church, and I was nervous. Okay, I've been practicing the song for weeks and I just didn't feel confident in it. I remember talking to one of the musicians and I was like, I want to sing this song. And he was very encouraging. Like, it wasn't really about what he said, but it was more so like, okay, like, yeah, I want to listen to that. Like, oh, that's a good song, something of that nature. And I was like, I'm nervous. So I didn't sing it that day that I told him, but I just went home and while it was still on my mind, I just tried to still practice it because I really wanted to sing it. And I finally sung it on Sunday. And it was just really, it was a nice experience. Like, of course, I want to get better at it and sing that song again. So for me, when I first stood up to even sing, like my chest was beating. It was like, and it was like we already were singing a song that was like really fast, and I was trying to catch my breath because like I still wanted to get into it. I didn't want to be so calm and just waiting until it was my turn to sing. Like I wanted to get into the service. And so my heart was beating really fast. I kept rocking back and forth. So my vocal coaches know that I tend to rock back and forth and I try to like move my head a lot when I sing. They're like, stay still. So that's something that I'm working on. But for me, it was just like I was just really happy. I was really excited to sing it. And then something different happened. So usually my pastor doesn't play the organ as much in church anymore because he's like really busy. But he got up and he started playing my song and I was like, oh my goodness. So that was interesting. I was so nervous because I was like, oh, because I saw when he first came in and I was like, I don't want to sing. Like, part of me wanted to just sit down, but I was like, well, I'm already up. So I think tying it back to today's topic is sometimes you just have to keep going for something, even if there are opportunities where you can back out of it, just keep going because you'll get more brave and more confident when it's time for you to do something else again. So I remember that as well. And I also thought in my mind, like, I'm going to try my best. So sometimes when you are trying to go after an idea, sometimes you just have to realize, like, this is a good idea. I'm going to go for it. I don't know what's going to happen, but I'm going to try my best. And so I already had in my mind, like, what would happen if I embarrassed myself, right? Like if I cracked my voice or I forgot the words or something like that, I already had it in my mind. Like it's a possibility, even though I'm going for this, like it's a possibility that I'm going to mess up or I'm going to crack my voice or something like that. So I already prepared myself for it. But in my mind, I was still going forth with basically just the better outcome that it'll actually come out pretty good. So that's what I went for. Still had it in the back of my head. So what I would say here is don't be afraid to get embarrassed or to embarrass yourself. Just normalize that emotion, right? So of course nobody likes to be embarrassed. Nobody likes to look stupid or anything like that. But if you're going after an idea and it doesn't pan out the way that you want it to pan out and it kind of puts you in a bad light, see if there is a way to fix it and just normalize it and be like, this didn't go as well as I expected it. You can tell your audience or whatever you're trying to do and just be like, next time I'll try better. Because that was something that helped me, especially in my industry, in terms of being on social media. I have learned that it's very simple and it's very easy to embarrass yourself, especially like if you post an Instagram reel, for example, and the text doesn't stay up there as long. So maybe if you're like pointing to something and then the words aren't actually up there, I've experienced that. I've experienced saying things wrong or stuttering and things like that. So if you normalize things like that, then people can't really take anything from you in doing so. And also, I would just say persevere as well, because sometimes we might be in social interactions where people might downplay you or downplay your skill, or they may do it indirectly. So you can't really tie it back to them, but you kind of know what they were referencing. And I know for me, for example, I am so happy now, like speaking up. and being confident. If I don't like something, I say it. If I feel like my boundaries are being infringed upon, I say something. And even if I might still help out, I may also say as well, I won't be able to do this again. So just being confident in who you are and the value that you bring, and just being confident that the situation is going to pan itself out regardless if you are there or not. I think that is something that is so important, because sometimes when you are dealing with different people, sometimes they might have that personality that shuts people down or downplays them or makes them feel stupid. And it's like, well, if you said something and nobody really listened the first time, say it again. And that's something that has been working for me lately, is just being respectful and just focusing on the facts, not focusing on, oh, so and so like basically said something, or they came at me, or they were being shady or something like that. Like just being able to still say what it is and stick to the facts, that will really help you a lot. And just being relaxed as much as possible. Like even if little things do happen to you, or stuff kind of threatens to knock you off your boat, just be like, okay, what's the next thing? And that's something that has helped me to be able to be confident, be able to put myself out there. It's just getting rid of as much negativity as possible and making sure that I'm relaxed. So if I look relaxed, if I'm wearing a specific kind of outfit like this, like certain things you can do to just be relaxed and do those things. So those are the tips that I have for you today. If you want to learn more about confidence, or you have any other questions, you can put them down below.
Thank you so much for tuning in to the Warrior Rulebook podcast. If you like what you heard, share it with a friend, and join me over at the Warrior Rulebook Podcast Insider group on Facebook. And don't forget to follow me on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter for more tips on how to be resilient in this world.